Welcome to the next episode of PR Squeeze, a podcast brought to you by the Public Relations Department of the Newhouse School of Communications here at Syracuse University. I'm Tony D'Angelo, chair of the PR department, and I'm joined today by PR professor and senior associate dean Gina Luttrell. We're excited to interview Anthony LaFauce today. He is managing director of AI innovation at Clyde, an award-winning strategic communications and public affairs firm based in Washington, D.C. He has more than 2 decades of experience advising clients across a range of industries: agriculture, consumer goods, pharma, healthcare, government, to name just a few. Anthony LaFauce offers a rich perspective on how organizations can build, protect, and adapt their reputations in today's AI-based media environment. Anthony, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Your title at Clyde is interesting, Director of AI Innovation, and I'm imagining that role sort of reflects how quickly the whole field is changing. I'm imagining your role didn't exist just a few years ago. So how long have you been working specifically in this space? That's one. And can you describe what you really do for clients day to day and why that's so important in today's media environment?
Oh, yes, of course. Thank you. So this title did not exist 2 years ago. 2 years ago, the CEO of my company approached me. I was managing our strategic communications department, approached me and said, you've been staying on top of this AI thing. We want you to solely focus on that because we believe AI is a thing that can help us leapfrog other agencies, which we're a mid-sized firm in Washington, D.C., which means we're up against the Edelmans, the Ketchums all the time in new business proposals, the work that we actually do. So looking at AI as a force multiplier, the ability to get our staff to do more faster, was a way that we wanted to approach it. So 2 years ago, took this title on and really started to push the company in that AI-focused direction. And what I really do on a day-to-day basis is, first, I had to train my staff on how to use AI. We have 20 years of experience using computers, which you have to throw out the window when you're working with AI because that's not how it was trained. So training our staff to A, understand what the tools can do, and B, actually understand how to use them was really our first priority because we want to be seen as an agency with great AI users. Day to day, I focus very heavily on GEO, this idea of generative engine optimization. So I work with clients to run GEO reports, which is essentially how the AI talks about our clients, and then we develop communications programs to help influence the AI because we see that as the next frontier in not just reputation management, but information in general. One of the most amazing facts is that 81% of Google searches go to zero-click. This idea that no one clicks on any links that Google's providing to them, and it's based on a mixture of either ads, AI, or information that pops up on the right side of the screen.
Wow. So is this the new frontier is this the new SEO?
Oh yes, it is the new SEO, and I like to say AI is the new public and public relations. It is the thing that you have to most influence because people are getting information from it, even if they don't know they're getting information from it.
Right.
Well, so when you talk about GEO and you're pulling reports for clients, what does that mean? What does that even look like?
They're very ugly. They are Excels that tell you what the AI responded back to with the prompt. But then it also tells you what sources did it use, which anyone can pull. But then what key information was the AI looking for in those sources? What were the tone of those sources? And then fundamentally, why it picked those sources. So then we can reverse engineer that communications program to say, here's how we shape an AI's response.
That's interesting. I feel like we should do a workshop on that, Tony.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
What are you doing tomorrow?
All right. So, AI's power and potential are exciting and daunting at the same time, and for comms professionals and the organizations that we serve. So given your focus on AI, what are the common misconceptions that you find organizations tend to have about its use and its effectiveness? So essentially, in other words, are there common expectations about what AI can do and how to apply it that aren't very well informed?
The first misconception is that AI is bad. I hear it constantly. Well, it hallucinates, or it does this, or it doesn't give me the information I'm looking for. And what that says to me as a very prolific user of AI is you're not using it right, which is a very difficult message to give to people. One of the ideas that we talk pretty heavily about is if a staffer makes a mistake or a reporter makes a mistake, you know who to contact or that information was wrong. When AI makes a mistake, who's at fault, right? So that misconception that AI isn't good is a really strong thing that I sort of work against. Well, it can't do this or it can't do that. And like, it can, you just have to use it better, which is a really hard thing to get by. And the other one is this idea that it's, and I talk about this frequently, it's going to change communications. It has fundamentally changed communications, whether we know it or not. So if you're not changing with it, you're falling behind the power curve. And the thing that we are pushing for pretty heavily at Clyde is being good users of it, because pretty soon clients, they haven't asked us yet, are going to start asking, well, how are you saving me money and time? And are you using AI to do this? The other thing that we talk pretty heavily about is this idea that AI is just for inefficiencies, that you can just speed up somebody's work, which isn't true. There's actually a lot of inspiration that you can get from AI. It can be your brainstorming partner. It can generate, images that you then send to creative to say, hey, this is kind of what I was thinking of. Does this help? So thinking of it as a search engine versus the tool that it actually is a really hard thing for communicators to get around.
I love that Clyde is embracing it, because I think that there is still sort of this shame around using it. Like, I'm not going to tell anybody I'm using it. Like, I don't know. Like, so I think that's, how did Clyde overcome that to embrace it fully instead of being like, oh, I don't want to talk about how much we're actually using AI?
By having advocates and having people who can actually talk about it. I have friends at other agencies, clearly won't mention their names, who don't know what they're doing, but have an AI tool. So when a client begins to push a little bit further, saying, well, how did it do this? Or where did it, there's, well, I don't really know. We started from the ground level training our staff, which gives every member of our team the ability to say, well, this is why it did something, or this is how it did something, which really helps clients and team members not feel wary of it, which was a really big learning for us, because you read a lot of things and you see stuff about how CEOs are pushing that everyone should use AI, but they're not giving any practical uses. So we came up with very simple, practical uses to start training folks on, and then slowly have been broadening that out to bigger and bigger things.
I love that. I think that's great.
Are you generally platform agnostic? I can imagine clients come to you and say, I think I want to do this thing over here. What do I use? Or should I always use ChatGPT? Or should I always use Perplexity? How do you address those kinds of issues?
Really asking them what they're trying to accomplish. Yeah. If you're looking for general purpose, your ChatGPTs, your Geminis are really great. That's what they're designed for. They're general purpose. They'll solve a lot of problems. If you're looking for specific tasks to be done, video editing, image editing, complex math, right? There are AIs designed for that. So if you have very specific, very difficult tasks, you go to a task-driven AI versus your more general AIs. The next thing, however, that we're seeing is, and we're doing this at Clyde pretty heavily, is we're training our own agents. We are training AIs to understand client voice. We are training AIs to digest reports for us. You look at something like Google's Opal, which is a text-to-code tool to develop apps. And it is like Star Trek. You tell the computer what you want this app to do, and the tool will program it. And it doesn't sound like a very communications-focused development tool, but when you start to think about, I need you to generate podcasts or social media content or posts all from a single piece of information, that's really where we start seeing this really agiatic sort of AI programming really get into place.
Wow. It's probably not overstating things to say that the entire industry is wondering, how do we keep up? So how do we keep up?
Well, first, if you're not watching...
Run, Tony.
Yes,
run.
I am running. I am running.
If you're not paying attention to Google I/O, if you're not paying attention to Meta's broadcasts and what they're doing, you're falling behind. Technology is synonymous with PR now. It is... One of the things I like to talk about is everyone assumes public relations is the media. Us working with media relations. Well, media was the tool to get in front of people. So now technology is the tool to get in front of people. So understanding really good technology and how it works is how we stay ahead of it. And subscribe to podcasts, listen to things that are pushing you to the next level, absorb things that you don't think have anything to do with public relations today, because pretty soon they will. The next thing I've got my eye on is looking at augmented reality with Google coming out with their new XR platform and how that's going to change information, communications, and how people receive ads. So it's just staying ahead of technology is really important.
And isn't it true, too, that the generative AI platforms can really coach you on how to use them better and stay abreast of them?
They can. Ask them how to best use them. Ask them how to program an agent, and they can actually help you to do that. You look at something like a Notebook LM, helping you go through information in a way that you couldn't do before. The other quick tip that I like to give to people is stop typing. Don't type to your AIs anymore. Hit that microphone button and talk to them. You will be amazed at the results you get by speaking versus typing, because the way our brain works when we're typing is very different than when we speak. And they were trained on the way we speak. So talking to them, you get better results.
Well, have to try that.
Yeah, I know, me too. But do you think that because, I mean, I would assume, I don't know, I don't have statistics or data on this, but most people are probably typing. Do you think that that will impact the LLMs?
Yes, but I also think we're going to get to a place where we're going to be interacting with them, not typing in the future. You look at the Meta Ray-Bans as a primary example of there's no way to type to that device.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. You look at the ones on your phone, and sure, you could type to them, but the screens are a little bit smaller. All of the new headphones are having AIs built in, so I've got like the Pixels, and that has Gemini built right into them. And I'm talking to the LLM and having it respond back to me. No source checking, whatever it says, I kind of go with.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, undoubtedly, I mean, everybody I know here in this building in Newhouse at Syracuse, we are definitely focused on AI. We're also focused on like protecting, employers' reputations and the reputations of our clients. So can you talk a little bit about the importance of AI and how that plays a role in brand protection?
Yes, so one of the interesting things about AI and brand protection is it happens in the moment. That AI has no opinion. It doesn't technically have an opinion, but it has nothing until it's prompted, right? So the bias that people can put into that prompt can change what the AI is putting out. So teaching people how to write unbiased prompts to interact with AI, first of all, is very important. But then, as we talked about earlier, understanding generative engine optimization, how the AI is sourcing things, where it is getting information, is the first step into protecting a client's brand. Because if you see it getting information from something that's 20 years old that just happens to still be on the internet, you have to find a way to fix that. So that's a really important thing. And then training people from a communication standpoint on how to properly use these tools is super important and really hard to do, because we have to use them the way an uneducated person uses them. If you're thinking about our clients, or you're thinking about like what we know in the space, we have a lot of information. We'll ask a question a certain way that will push the AI to understand we know the space or the reputation, which is going to be a totally different answer than if a regular person prompts it. So understanding how to do that is a really important part of understanding brand reputation.
Awesome.
One of the concerns I have, and tell me if I should be scared, is...
You should be.
Okay. I'm already there.
Run and be scared. Those are your two takeaways.
I'm there. Is that, because so many of these platforms have incredible abilities to manufacture writing, video, images, animations, I'm sure clients are experimenting with this and know it. Are they asking, what do I need you for as a counselor? And I have an answer for that, but I'm wondering what your answer is.
So the way we approach it at Clyde is, why doesn't the client use PR news themselves? Why don't they draft up a press release for themselves the first time? They have access to all the same tools that we do. We are just good at it, right? We are quicker using the tools, we understand how to use them better, and that's the value add from the starting point. But then being experts in our field, we simply use the tools faster to get better results. So and again, at Clyde, this is the way we look at it, it's no different than any of the other digital tools that PR professionals have had at their fingertips for over 2 decades now. And why haven't clients just been doing it themselves? Sure, it ebbs and flows, some of it comes in-house, some of it goes out, but like, we are better at it, we get better results, and at the end of the day, client relations still matters. Like being able to talk to your client, explain what, I'm sure you all experienced this, What the client asks for and what they need are completely different things. So you as a counselor being able to see what they actually need versus what they asked for, very similar to how we approach AI.
Wow.
Okay. Final question?
Sure.
All right. AI is mandatory for every comms professional, yes?
Yes.
Okay. If there is somebody out there who is still intimidated by AI, what would you say to them? How do you dip your toe in?
Start creating fun images. Just have fun with it. It is a fun tool to use. And once you start to see the power of what it does, go to something like a Google Flow and create a video for the first time and see what you can do there. You don't have to use it in your professional career just yet, but there will be a point where if you come knocking on the door and you say, I don't use AI, you're not going to be hired. It's going to be that real. So find fun ways to play with it, get to use it, play video games that have AI in them. I'm a big fan of that. But like, just think about how you can use it in your daily life. Create a agent that helps you travel a little better, right? That's programmed on all your likes and dislikes, and then have it make restaurant recommendations for you. Yeah. Really like easy, low barrier things that would make you comfortable, and then again, just use them. Like the more you use them, the more you become familiar and less scared of them.
I like that. Just use them, right? It's just getting used to it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I'd like to thank Gina for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
And certainly, Anthony LaFauce, really appreciate it. You're going to be speaking to an auditorium full tonight. We thank you for that, and conducting a workshop for both faculty and students tomorrow. So we really appreciate it. I'd like to thank our audience. We hope you found all this information was worth the squeeze.